Hey everyone, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Catholic Table Talk Podcast. This is the podcast where everything Catholic is on the table for discussion. I am solo this week, as we have another week here, and yes, we do have another week about abortion, so hang with me on this one, but it comes with great news. Before we get to that though, I want to welcome everyone who's watching or listening on all of our platforms. Thank you so much for your continued support. Of course, this podcast would not be possible without your continued support. And I don't mean trying to get everyone bored by me saying that every single episode, but hopefully you can understand how much I really do appreciate everyone who listens or watches the show. Also, email the show at catholictt@gmail.com for show speaker or feedback. catholictt@gmail.com is the official email of Catholic Table Talk Podcast. So, again, like I said, I'm flying solo by myself this week. So, let's kind of bear with me on this show. But, like I'm saying, it's a great show because this is the first show that we have done since after Roe vs. Wade is overturned. We weren't sure if we're going to have a show, if the Supreme Court was going to vote on the last day of June. But here we are. So I'm going to do what is next because a lot of people is asking what is next. I'm sure a lot of people like you are either confused about Roe versus Wade being overturned or asking yourself what is next. So I'll give you some of my ideas or tips that I've thought about that kind of came to me, of course, from the Holy Spirit, or as well as um speaker reactions that I have gotten, and we got Pitts and Aquinas, and then we got Trent Horn on his reactions. So let's get started here. But again, such a great show. Um, so happy that World War Wayne's overtorn. But of course, this means it's not over. But they said I've been hearing about 20 states is being going to kind of get a ban abortion or have very very heavy restrictions on it, while the other 30 then would either have abortion or they won't have as much restrictions. So when not only half of the states is banning abortion, which most people don't get that, especially if you've been watching the news, all the protesters and everything, they don't really get that. I mean, it's only not even half the states ban abortion. Over half of them still have abortion. Probably will continue, or will not have really um as bad restrictions on it for a woman who wants to have an abortion. So let's get started. This is Roe versus Wade is dead. It's entitled What is Next for You and I. So on June 24th, a day to remember, a day in history, do I remind you, a day in history, 2022, the court overturned the 1973 decision Roe versus Wade and made it up to the states to decide what to do with abortion, not the whole country. So remember, it's been over 50 years. It was about 15 years, 1973 and 2022. Over the next days, there were violent protests, and states started the conversation about whether they were to ban or keep abortions legal. Again, this ended a 50-year decision by the court back in 1973. Some of you were around back then. I was not, but some of you were. And this ended the abortion holocaust, as Matt Fried puts it with Pitts and Aquinas on YouTube. What you think about? Do you agree with them? I mean, look at the Nazi Germany. They call that the Holocaust. They killed innocent people all over. Well, abortion kills innocent babies. Like in these past few episodes we've been doing on abortion. Basically, every single time it comes up that abortion is basically murder. It's against the fifth commandment: thou shalt not kill, or thou shalt not murder. That's what it says. So I don't think Mr. Matt Fried there from Pits and Aquinas channel on YouTube is all that wrong. He says abortion Holocaust, that's a strong word, but Nazis were killing innocent Jews and uh, people with special needs and all that back in the 40s, 1940s, and now you have abortion really starting up in 1973 and killed, like they were said, over 500 million babies. So, could be wrong with that number, but I believe it just went on the news the other day. But killed over how many 100 million babies or million babies, and what's different about innocent babies and innocent people? You know, they're still people. So, like I said, that's back in every episode if you want to go back and watch those, because again, cannot express this enough of babies in the mother's womb, but it's not the mother's body. It's the baby's body. It's a whole different human being in there. So Catholics and other pro-life people around this country is asking what is next. As again, a lot of people think abortion is banned throughout the US. There's no more of it. That is not true. And I think that's what the protests are saying around the country, but I don't know if they really know if the problem is they probably don't even know what they're protesting about, because they're protesting in New York City and everything when there's still abortion rights in there. So that's how that's how most people don't know anything if they don't really watch the news. They don't really stay up to date. You don't have to just watch the news every day, because it's really takes a toll probably on you, or at least it does for me at times. But at least being informed so you know, because even if you're against abortion, you might think, oh, it's banned. And then you say, what? It's not banned total? I thought Supreme Court banned it. Well, they did, but just for the federal, not the states. So anyway, there's a few things that we can do in this post Roe versus Wade American age. I want to share a few tips as well as other Catholic speakers. So my top 3 things to do, and most Catholic speakers have about 2 or 3 things to do too, is 1, 2, 3. But of course, I gotta say what they are. I can't just say 1, 2, or 3. This is a baseball here. So what is force to do? Well, force, I think force is a huge role in every Catholic life or even Christian life. If you don't have this life every day of your life, then your spiritual life is probably not the greatest. You don't have to be down on your knees praying 6 to 10 hours a day, but have a prayer life. So first thing that you should do, this is what I came up with, is first have a prayer life. Give thanks to God that what we've been praying for a lot of people, it's been 50 years. For all the March for Life and everything, that's been 50 years they've been praying for this. So give thanks to God that the Supreme Court overturned it, and pray that it continues to end throughout the states and the country. Because, again, it's been 50 years. God doesn't give on our time, he gives on his time, which is so incredible. Like I mentioned in the reactions on June 24th on the live stream, was, hey, it happened on the solemnity of the Most Sacred Heart of Jesus. How cool is that? So again, give thanks to God that they overturned it, and just praying for continuing to ban abortion throughout the country and also throughout the world. Number 2 now, we need to help other people who are for abortion and don't know a lot about abortion. And that's what I mean about the protesters. That could be someone in your parish. I have people I know who have said, and like we mentioned on the past episodes on abortion as well. I don't, I'm Catholic. I'm not really against abortion. I don't really see the harm in doing it. But they don't really know what abortion really is. They don't know the details of it. So walk them through it, and yeah, walk them through it and see why they're kind of for abortion. They don't mind abortion. So explain to them in a nice kind of way. Like I said, they'll come across as being know-it-all or trying to divide you against them or anything, but try to share with them what it is, especially if they're Catholic. Most of the non-Catholic as well. So, I mean, as well as this, I mean, people they either have a couple of things with if they're for abortion. One, they're not, like I said, they're not up to date in the news, or two, they do have a lot of fear or anxiety or something with it. It may be something that they did, maybe they had abortion, or they know someone who had abortion or has gone through a tough time, or something's holding them back, like it does, like we all have something that probably holds us back at some point at something in our lives, but they're holding back for some reason. So Pit Santa Claus, I want to just share like a 5-minute clip from them, if I can here, about kind of abortion and what do we think of it here. So let me just take a few moments here.
Why are we killing our own offspring? And how much more wrong if we're rational? So if I see a penguin aborting its babies, right, and you're like, holy crap, something wicked is happening, all the more evil if I'm rational and I'm not acting on instinct. So I believe the Christian response here, Christ's response here, is to bring healing. So yes, of course, there are things that violate certain lines, right, where we have to have laws or we have to step in strongly. But I think a longer term effect that's going to have more of a positive result is if we actually work on healing the heart. If we actually work on healing people, like to understand underneath all of this, what is it that causes people to be in this place and to believe these things? And I think when you go from heart to heart with person to person, you discover exactly right. So much. I had an example I think I shared with you the other day, if you don't mind me sharing. I had this one client, and he unfortunately has passed away already, but he had a rare form of, I think some kind of leukemia or some kind of blood disease. But he was the most beautiful person. I mean, this was a guy who, was saying a holy hour every morning through his suffering and right up to his death. He just gave himself totally to Christ. He prayed the rosary. He was just, I don't know, he was just a light for so many people. And I was working with him through the grieving process. He kept bringing up the fact, though, occasionally, that he was strongly pro-choice. And as a counselor, there's not much I can say. My job is not to, tell people what to believe. That's not what I'm there for in that context at all. And so I was just like, okay, and once in a while, because we get into little conversations, sidebar conversations here and there, I would just little challenges, why would you believe, like, you're Catholic? I see how it didn't seem consistent in some way. And and then once in a while, to my discredit, I sort of argued a little bit. I couldn't help it. Like once in a while, I just sort of make an argument, and then he got really defensive and then I pulled back. I don't want to lose a therapeutic relationship. But he made some comment about it at another point, and I can remember something hit me like a flash of lightning, because I had remembered his earlier story, his earlier history before his conversion, and I'd remembered one particular girlfriend that he described having, and it just hit me, and I said, "Hey," his name is not John, but I said, "Hey, John, did she have an abortion?" And he just went, his whole face just changed, and he just started weeping. And I realized, oh my gosh, I was barking up the wrong tree the whole time. His defense, his, the radical position that he had was a defense for protecting something that was deep inside of him that was really, really, truly grieving and lost. And he never had children. He died without children, and that was something he wished he had. He'd always wanted a child.
So again, right there, just trying to, like you were saying, don't go through it.
No, that's beautiful. It's a great sort of.
Yeah, there you go. So don't go overboard with it, kind of like what he did, but just try and make the connection and find out why the for abortion and the poor choice like that. So I say, especially if they are Catholic. So that is one reason. I might come back to this in a little bit here, but of course, my top three. So one is prayer life. Give thanks to God that Supreme Court overturned it. They didn't cave into the protesters. They didn't cave into the evil in the world. Two is if you know people who are pro-choice, find out why they are pro-choice, help them out. And yeah, trying to make them unafraid or whatever. Make them feel loved, I should say, too, especially if they're going through a tough time, like he said his patient was, from Dr. Gary there. Donate. And number three is donate money or time to charities that support life. They are local. They're also more federal, but we need to give increased time to charities to help others in life. So, I mean, you'll probably have heard this a lot of times, like give to this charity, give to that charity. Maybe you're giving to like 2 to 5 charities right now. But especially, I highly encourage you to look into charities that give to promoting life, anti-abortion. So whether it's clinics or housing for families or mothers or whatever the case might be, dig into some good charities, Catholic charities, a Fight for Life, Whites for Life, I believe is maybe someone Fight for Life. But look into some charities like that and see how you can contribute to help fight abortion that way as well. So those are my top three. And now I just kind of like follow up with reactions from Trent Horn as well as other things. I did not get to in the live stream real quickly before we end the show today. Trent Horn tweeted out though on June 27th. It's interesting that Planned Parenthood says that abortion banks will force their clinics to close when, according to them, abortion only made up 3% of their services. Wow. Looks like pro-lifers were right when they said these were abortion mills rather than women's health centers. So Planned Parenthood, they would say, oh, we're going out of business. But they only made up 3% of their services last year. It's interesting, says Trent Horn. So Planned Parenthood is and has always been an evil organization exploiting women for the monetary gain. So again, that's one Planned Parenthood out of business. Even though abortion only made up 3% of the sources, but looks like Trent Horn says, looks like pro-lifers were right. It's abortion mills rather than women's health centers. So that's one of our business. I believe I mentioned this tweet on the live stream, but I'll mention it again from Catholic Vote. Not only was Vote overturned on the day that we celebrate the Sacred Heart of Jesus, but every other year it will follow on the Nativity of John the Baptist, who recognized the humanity of Christ in the womb. So not just this year's, but it's also years to come. So that's why I think it's so powerful that they did overturn on June 24th, because it was a sacred heart of Jesus, but now every other year it will fall on the nativity of John the Baptist. So that's really cool as well. We saw the humanity of Christ in the womb of Mary. Of course, like I said, Abby Johnson. Woe is overtorn. Let's go. Trade out. Trent Horn again trading before the last trade. Ward and Casey are overtorn. I'm feeling a rush of emotions, but I'm especially grateful that friends of mine who have been in this fight since before 1973 lived to see this day. So that's 50 years from when they voted in to when they overturned it. Ben Shinapo trading Ward and Casey overruled. And this is from Catholic Teens post on Instagram and Facebook, but this is from Instagram and also from the Armed Catholic, I should say. There's a meme. So Catholics are it says Catholics are pro-life until birth. They do nothing for the born. But then Catholics say Catholic hospitals, Catholic rehab centers, Catholic adoption agencies, Catholic food drives, Catholic women's shelters. So there's 5 things that we do for the born: Catholic hospitals, rehab, adoption agencies. Like we say, there's a huge list of people who want an adoption, as well as food drives for them, as well as Catholic women shelters, which a lot of women go to. So yes, we do fight for the born as well as the unborn too. So with that being said, I want to share with you Trent Horn's 3 things of what he thinks that we should do here. So let me go back to the page here. And here we go.
So I think you should focus on 3 areas. One is education, learning to talk about the issue and helping those who do go to talk about it. So maybe there's a pro-life apologist or pro-life apologetics organization that you support. Support them, get involved yourself, learn how to talk about this issue. Next one is helping people who are in an unintended pregnancy to choose life, to not feel that they need abortion. Here I would recommend supporting your local pregnancy resource center and other or maternity homes. So finding ones that are involved there and making a financial contribution, especially to help them to accomplish their mission. And then finally, supporting changes in the laws, especially things like your local Catholic conference or local right to life organization that helps to pass pro-life laws. I would say that if you're going to donate your time, talent, and treasure, divide it up amongst education, helping those who are in an unintended pregnancy to have the means to raise their child, and then helping those organizations that work to change the laws, and just kind of spread it over those 3. And you can find organizations that fall under each one. If you live in a diocese, your diocese probably has a Respect Life office or a marriage and family office that focuses on Respect Life, and they might have a list of organizations they recommend. Maybe there's a pro-life apologist or pro-life apologetics organization that you support. Support them, get involved yourself, learn how to talk about this issue.
All right, so right there, Lauren talked about this issue. I really agree with him on there too. I wanted to say that for you, but so yeah, Lauren to talk about this issue because we are all called to defend the faith. You have to be a apologetic, or even a really great one to defend the faith, because everyone is called to defend the faith at some point or another. So learn how to talk about this issue, and like it's like if you can learn how to talk about this issue, you can learn how you can learn to get to other people's feelings of why they think abortion is okay. And just like so you can defend that out in public as well. Like Trent Horn said, pregnancy centers, support them. Right to life, in your diocese, find them. And like you said, just support more of your, like Trent Horn says, treasure or time to those because they are in need of support, and especially after this, I think everyone would be willing to support them. So again, really great insights by Trent Horn right there, as well as other things. So again, June 24th, 2022 is huge day. Make sure you mark that down. It's going to be marked down in history. It's a day in history which we all lived. Praise be to God. So the fight's not over. Because in the end, it's our duty to fight for life. It's what we're called to do as well. Doesn't matter what your friends or family says about abortion. If they're trying to say abortion is right, trying to find out why they think it is, and listen, first of all, just try another subject. Get a cop to speed, even if that includes watching the news or talking to someone. Get to speed so you know what's going on, so you can learn how to talk about it, which then you can learn how to talk to other people about this it's really hard topic to talk about, like Father Gabriel and Game of Shooting, everyone who's been on the show talking about abortion has said. So, because abortion needs to be banned in the U.S., not just in most states, but in the entirety of the U.S. and the entirety of the world. And it's an evil, evil thing that the devil is doing to this country, and it's an evil, evil thing that is dividing our country and the world. That's either on the abortion side or you on the anti-abortion side. So, and like I said, most people on abortion, doesn't matter if they're in Catholic politics or if they're in like politics who are Catholic, or doesn't matter if they're Catholics in your community. We gotta stand up for what is right and try to find out why they are okay with abortion, and try your homework. Try to do at least one of these tips that either I or Trent Horn, or maybe one from each of us, have shared with you, as well as Dr. Gary and Matt Ford from Pitts and Aquinas. So those links will be up. Check them out. Again, thanks be to God for making the June 24th, 2022. And that concludes our abortion series. So thank you for your continued support throughout this. I know it's a hard topic, like I said, to discuss on many, basically the whole month of June. But it's a very good topic to get to know and to defend why abortion is wrong. So, but for Williams, for myself, and thank you for keep having us on your computer or mobile device every single week. And God bless you and your family. We'll see you next week for another great show right here on a new topic on Catholic Table Talk Podcast. This is the podcast where everything Catholic is on the table.